what is desirable about Summerlin? I think a lot of people are like, oh, Summerlin. I want to live there. It's the next Beverly Hills or whatever you want to call it here.
Yeah.
I like it. I'm not in love with it, but I like it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do people really think that there's a big separation living in Summerlin?
Yeah, so look, I've been in Vegas for 30 years. Half of this time has been in Green Valley, and half has been in Summerlin.
So you've always been in the nice areas.
Yeah, I've been fortunate. I've been in the nice areas, right? But there is fundamental differences between the two, and over time, those fundamental differences have become more profound, right? And so when you take it, like Green Valley is a great area, and Green Valley it doesn't even have discernible lines. When people say they live in Green Valley, they're basically saying, hey, I live in the good part of Henderson. But you can't necessarily go on a map and say this side of the street is Green Valley, but this side of the street isn't Green Valley.
Yeah.
And in Green Valley, you have master plan communities, Anthem, Seven Hills, McDonald Highlands, and you have master plan communities. The difference is once you leave your little protected bubble to do any retail, commercial, anything, it's a free-for-all. So it's just City of Las Vegas or City of Henderson. So there's pros and cons to it. But to me, it's mostly cons because there's no consistency. It is what it is. Now, when you come to Summerlin, the difference is it's 22,500 acres. It's a master plan community the size of a city with 100,000 plus people living there, which will be 200,000 people. The difference is when I leave my neighborhood and I go to Costco or I go to the gym or I go, all of those commercial and retail establishments, they pay into the system. They have to adhere to the same rules that I do as a resident. So you have better quality control. You have a more uniform environment. And you've been here your whole life, and the migration patterns change. Growing up, no one ever remodeled their house. They just all right, we're moving 3 miles that direction and getting a new
left
house
the house the way it is
for the same price. And then that neighborhood kind of goes downhill. And then 5 years later, you move to another neighborhood and all right, I'm a little far out, but we got the house right this time. This is the house we want. We've never had a time until recently where neighborhoods and these huge communities. You got to remember, Green Valley Ranch didn't exist until 98, 99.
Let me say this. So you have the east side, and people always say, well, what's the best locations? I'll tell you right now, it's very rare. There's nice areas in the east side. Mm-hmm. Very rare somebody says, hey, I want to move there. I think if you have people that want to build, like you have investors and other companies and corporations that want to go there and build that community up, why wouldn't that community actually start to gain value too? It's like the old saying, if you don't put money in that area, it's going to stay the same and just keep going down. Wouldn't that change that whole dynamic in East Side if he did that? Because I just feel like everybody wants to go to Summerlin or Henderson and Southwest.
It's starting to slowly develop, though.
That's
like
what
I
I'm
drove
saying.
past a spot that was off of like Charleston over on the east side, just on the east side of the 15. And there's a new development and they're starting at the low 400s. Yeah. And I had to do a double take at the sign because I'm like, I've never seen anything over here even a quarter of that price ever.
Right.
And now suddenly across from Siegel Suites, you've got things going up that are $400,000. And I'm like, oh my God, there's going to be a ton of people moving out of here.
Yeah. What do you?
Well, when you guys see a high-end wine bar on Nellis, holler at your boy.
Yeah, it's not happening. I am not going back over there ever.
It's not happening.
You don't think there's? Not like to that level, but you don't think that money could pump that area up where
eventually?
It's going to have to, because you got to think. It just can't just fall off the map. You got to have some area.
You got to understand that Vegas has grown like rings on a tree, right? We build out. And you're going to continue to build out until there's an opportunity cost. When out is so damn far, now there's an intrinsic value to being in. Okay?
Building up and on top of other stuff.
Like what you're seeing is, Section 10, okay, these are unique homes. These are single-story ranch homes that are 3,000 square feet on an acre lot.
Yeah.
Some people don't want cookie-cutter life in Summerlin. They want a mid-century modern, and that doesn't exist. So Section 10, those areas have become really, really popular, and the values have, because there's an intrinsic value to that. Now, the surrounding neighborhood is rough, but if you get more people with more money and more demand for higher end, retail and commercial, that always follows. So just like, in LA, downtown LA was a shithole damn near my whole life, but then it was redeveloped. Santa Monica,
just like downtown Vegas,
LA.
same thing.
Yeah,
sure.
They completely redid it. Yeah, Vegas.
So
downtown Vegas has grown a lot. Like I'm kind of a Summerlin guy myself. You know, I was always attracted when I moved here in 2000 for it. You know, and you know, I liked a lot of the houses in the Summerlin area and Paseos. You know, years ago when that stuff was building, you know, you can get a decked out Pulte house, you know, kind of cookie cutter but gated.
Yeah.
For $550,000.
Yeah, not now.
You know, that $550,000 house, now that it's been upgraded a little bit, has the decked out yard and the pool and everything, there's houses in that area going for 1.4, 1.6.
Right.
So that leads me into asking you the question of, so these houses now that were only $500,000
Right.
a few years ago that are, you know, someone's swinging for the fences and trying to get 1.6, and they'll probably get it 1.6 from somebody that moves from California and grabs it.
Oh, yeah.
Not anymore,
Are we going to start having a problem of, you know, these people that bought in at this, are we going to be underwater?